everybody, this is a new game. Oh, excuse me. Um, well, right when I start about to read, I'm gonna have to sneeze, so excuse me for that. Anyways, yes, we're turning explicit scenes off because that's bad for YouTube. So, yes, explicit scenes off. Alright, let's go.
So, why would a person take someone's life?
Who knows? Maybe people make a living off that sort of thing. Why? What's eating you?
Nothing really. Just a passing thought. Speaking of, I'm hungry. Let's go get something.
Maybe later tonight. I've got somewhere I've got to be.
Okay, giving me very much anime.
I've got somewhere I've got to be.
That was quite loud for me. Not sure what it sounds like for y'all, but okay. Alright. Beep. High above the restless heartbeat of the city, a hooded figure crouched near the edge of the towering skyscraper. Okay, so this is giving me 80s synthwave music, and I'm here for it. Strands of bright pink hair were jostled about as a gust of wind blew through them. His steely gaze scanned the flow of the traffic and the bustling crowd below. It was as if he were waiting, watching, searching for something. Or someone. Suddenly, a sharp buzzing cut through the night air. The masked figure reached into his pocket and pulled out a phone. He glanced at the bright screen, 2 words shining back at him. Target located. Suspect was seen fleeing from Strexa facility 0915. Wordlessly, the man slid the phone back into his pocket. He turned and swiftly disappeared down the fire escape, quiet and precise. The sound of labored breathing echoed through the alleyway as a frightened man staggered to his feet near a dumpster, clutching a purple box close to his body. Shadows were cast along brick walls, adorned in ripped posters and half-stirred graffiti. One shadow stalked the other from the cover of darkness, silently approaching. Paranoia was setting in like the slow push of a syringe. What was that? The man gripped at his chest in fear, his voice cracking in panic. Beads of sweat trickled down his furrowed brow. His wide-eyed gaze darted wildly around the alley as he tried to cover the box with his coat. He was being hunted. No, wait, just take it back.
What? No!
I'm glad he made that noise and not me. Oh, goodness. The small purple box fell to the ground, knocked slightly ajar by the impact. The killer picked it up, ignoring the body next to it, and was gone soon after. Across the city. The fluorescent lights overhead buzzed, filling the silence between the cashier and the young man at the counter. He was taking an obnoxiously long time to order his food. Something about the lazily swept floor and water-stained ceiling tiles seemed to suggest that this was the place for peak junk food. I mean, it usually is. Those dirty, nasty places got some good-ass food. It was without a doubt Sasha's favorite burger joint in the entire city. If this was how he died, greasy burger in hand, then he was happy to go. The cashier cleared her throat impatiently. Finally, after what seemed like forever, Sasha tapped his fingers on the countertop and began his order. I'll have, a pasta burger, big old beef or onion. We're gonna have the big old beef. I'll have the big old beef, no lettuce. Okay, that'll be $4.60. Sasha pulled out his car, his C card, and tapped it against the
Okay.
register. Yeah, cool. See you later. Later, Sasha. The cashier set the to-go bag beside the register and shot him a quick finger gun goodbye. Sasha swiped the goods off the counter and left the hole in the wall, impatiently digging into the paper bag to retrieve and unwrap his burger. Not wasting a second, he shoved the burger into his mouth, chewing delightfully.
Nice.
Oh man, this is the best. We didn't get no fries? Night had settled over the city and painted the buildings in hues of purples and blue. A string of streetlights led a path down the empty side road, guiding pedestrians home from their busy day. Sasha, with his burger in hand, passed by a collection of vending machines near an alley intersection. His free hand dug in his pocket and pulled out the C card, pressing it to the vending machine scanner. The machine flashed a lack of funds error code. Sasha groaned. His balance was clearly drained. He had no cash on him, and lint was not a good currency. Oh man. With a defeated sigh, Sasha continued on. It wasn't often that he walked this way when heading home. The graffitied walls and familiar mishmash of building styles were always a welcoming sight, though. Sasha glanced over at a small playground near the side street he was on, noticing the rusty equipment and how very neglected it all seemed. He grinned. Wow, I haven't come this way in forever. I used to hang out here all the time. Nostalgia nudged at him as he drew closer to the playground, taking in the familiar sight curiously. I played at this park every day after school. Not that there's really much to play with. The playground looks exactly the same as it always has, just a big empty dirt lot. Well, and the swings and one busted slide and the monkey bars. I fell off once. Sasha walked over to the empty swings and slowly sat down, unwrapping the rest of his burger. He took another bite and looked around at the desolate playscape. His free hand grabbed onto the rustled chain that held him up while he swung back and forth a bit. Honestly though, this park kinda sucks. I'm surprised it wasn't bulldozed for apartments or something. Kids don't really play here. Kids don't really play here back then, and they still don't. I mean, look at this place. He laughed to himself quietly, taking another bite of the burger. He was far too hungry to wait until he got all the way home to finish eating. Pretty much just a place for teens to smoke and sip class. I mean, even I did it. Back then, there wasn't a lot of kids to hang out with, really. I guess Mishka was there after a while, but he doesn't count. But it's whatever. It beats sitting in an empty apartment every night. Sasha dug the tip of his shoe into the mulch beneath him, lost in thought momentarily, forgetting the world around him, while memories played out in his mind. I usually stayed out pretty late, but when the sun disappeared behind near the school, I'd head home. Walking home alone was fine since we didn't live very far, plus there was a little corner store right by our apartment that I always stopped in. That place had everything, like I could grab dinner for me and my mom when she worked late. I'd also pick her up some of the apple stuff that she loves so much. I swear, sugar runs through her veins. Probably where I get it from. She still can't stay mad at me if I give her one of those. He grinned fondly at the thought. Man, time really does fly.
Huh?
Sasha, startled by the sound of his phone buzzing away in his pocket, reached into his jacket and pulled out the device. Did we click it? Yeah. Hey man, Alexi gave me this number and said if I want anything to meet up with you. Is that good? My place or yours? LOL.
Oh, fuck.
Who is this? I only meet up in public. When do you want it? Don't message me this late. I'm off the clock. We need money, so who is this? I only meet up in public. When do you want it? Taryn, and house tomorrow at Jukebox. LOL. Okay, I'll meet you at the bar tomorrow afternoon. He shoved his phone back into his pocket, his brows furrowing in irritation. Just give my number to anyone, that's fine. Totally not creepy at all. The earlier feeling of fondness had melted into agitation. Sasha crumpled the burger wrapper into a small ball and tossed it in a nearby recycling can as he stood from the swing. Getting really late now, I should probably head out. He glanced over his shoulder at the empty alley behind him, a small chill prickling the back of his neck. Yeah, it was time to go. The streetlights began to spread out further. He walked, becoming less and less frequent along the way. The darker the past became, the more Sasha found himself glancing over his shoulder, his hands shoved into his pockets. His pace quickened, not even bothering to stop when he passed the corner store, despite the aroma of the apple shit. I don't know what that is. Neon signs flickered irregularly in the darkened shop windows that lined the streets. The occasional pedestrian became few and far between. Sasha looked up and saw he was approaching his apartment building, a newfound urgency ballooning in his chest. Keys. Where were his keys? Is our mom home? Flies beat against the corridor light bulb behind him. Sasha stood in front of his apartment door, hands fumbling for the keys. He knew he had to be somewhere on him. He sighed with relief when he found them and quickly shoved the small key into the deadbolt, turning it sharply. There was no click of the lock. Sasha's heart fell into his stomach. Did I leave this unlocked? His heart raced in his chest. As quiet and careful as he could, Sasha turned the handle and pushed. The door eased open a crack and slowly widened enough for him to slide through. His eyes were wide in the darkness of the small studio apartment, trying to adjust as best as they could. He cautiously reached over and set the keys onto the TV stand next to him. Something had been knocked over, something close. He turned his head in the direction of the noise, now noticing the light that shone through the crack of the bathroom door. A spike of panic sent a burning, rigid sensation along his arm and gripped his chest tightly. Weapon, he needed a weapon. As silently as he could, Sasha reached into the drawer near the TV stand and pulled out the knife. It was impossible to calm the heartbeat he could feel pulsing in his throat. He took a few steps forward, holding the knife close. He advanced slowly towards the bathroom door, his heart pounding. Every hair on the back of his neck stood on the end, and his hand clenched a white-knuckled grip around his weapon. Sasha lifted his other hand and grasped the door handle. Excuse me, sorry y'all. Had ramen. He tried to slow his breathing with one long, shaky exhale. Suddenly, he yanked the door open with all his might and lunged into the bathroom, knife raised.
Did you really think you'd win in a knife fight against me? Sasha.
Who is this? Who? Whomst is this? It's unbeknownst to me. Sasha found himself caught in a firm grip, his knife hand immobilized. Panting, he looked up at the man's face and recognized finally filtered through his adrenaline. Instantly, irritation replaced his earlier sense of dread.
Mishka! What the hell?
Did I scare you?
Mishka laughed, his fingers uncoiling from around his friend's wrist. He stepped away and leaned casually against the doorway, his arms crossed.
Are you kidding me?
You couldn't just send me a text like a normal person instead you break in? Well, if I had a key, I wouldn't have to break in. Mishka waved his hand dismissively. No, that's not how this works. How many... Sasha sighed harshly and pinched the bridge of his nose. How many times have I said... He never answered. Were you scared? Mishka smirked and pushed off the doorway, heading towards the nearby couch. I'm pissed off. Sasha swatted the air near his friend as he passed by, though this clearly didn't faze him. He sighed and followed Mishka into the living room. Knife still in his hand, he opened the drawer beneath the TV and set the weapon back inside. He then swiped at the light switch near the front door. Light flooded into the rest of the apartment. You're still not getting a key. In fact, you're further from getting a key than you've ever been. Sasha shook his head slowly in disbelief, but couldn't help a small grin. Oh, come on. You're not totally thrilled by my lockpicking skills? One leg lifted and crossed the other while Mishka settled back into the couch cushions. No. Sasha chuckled mildly before he plopped down beside Mishka. Alright. Then what would it take to get a key, He leaned towards Sasha loosely, setting his arm on the back of the small couch. I think as your best friend, I'm long overdue for one. I think you're full of it. Sasha's annoyed tone was betrayed by the small smile he wore. And there's nothing you can do to get a key. Sorry, except for maybe cry about it. He leaned away from Mishka, reclining against the opposite end of the sofa. He made sure to push his legs into the space between them before curling up. Okay, well, now that I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. What do you want to do? Breaking into my apartment is a weird way to ask if you can hang out. Okay, I get it. Ask before breaking in. Are you hungry? Not waiting for an answer, Mishka pulled out his phone and started looking for delivery options. I actually already ate, so I'm good. Who are you and what have you done with my Sasha? A muffled ring was heard behind Sasha, or maybe it was beneath him. Sasha shifted around as he played a game of hot and cold to find his phone. Oh, I didn't realize it was already this late. Hey, Mom. Hey, honey, are you busy? I'm always busy, you know. Adult work, meetings, and doing stocks for adults. Why, what's up? Oh, my little businessman. That's so cute. Oh, I'm at the market. Well, I'm on the train to the market. It's a little loud. There's a guy here playing the guitar. Can you hear it? Hang on. Did you hear it? She just tried to... Yep. Mom, Yep, I can hear it. It's a bit late for grocery shopping. Using the armrest as leverage, Mishka pushed himself towards the phone and practically grinned into the receiver. Hey, Ma. Well, I had to get my... Mimi, is that you? Hello, dear. What are you up to, shopping? At the tower? Mishka draped himself lazily over Sasha in an effort to get closer to the phone. I forgot to go out this morning and these coupons expire tonight, so I gotta use them now. Oh, Mimi, your C card. Did you get that updated yet? Yeah, Ma, I got it. It should be taken care of. Okay, good. Just make sure since that deadline's coming up. Oh, and thank you. Okay, dears, I can't shop and talk at the same time. I'll drop my phone, and you know these things are expensive. Do you know how much I paid to repair this thing the last time?
Yeah.
Okay, bye, Mom. Bye. Okay, love you. Boop. The phone went quiet. She likes me more. Mishka was still draped over Sasha like a tired koala, clearly not intending to move. Yeah, 'cause you can reach the top cabinet for her. That's probably true. He laughed softly, a gentle smile spreading across his face. You're incredibly lucky, you know that? We're getting calls from the grocery store. Sasha's gaze stayed on his phone as he began to aimlessly scroll through his messages despite no one having texted him. No, I'm serious. She's an amazing mom and you're really lucky to have that. Mishka's gaze settled on his friend as he rolled himself off Sasha and back into his reclined state against the couch cushions. Sure, yeah. Sasha continued to look at his phone as he spoke.
So...
Did you come over for a reason, or...
Well...
Yeah, to hang out with you, dummy. Reaching forward, Mishka began to take his shoes off, unstrapping the Velcro around his ankles. Well, I have a drop across town tomorrow, so whatever we do, I can't be up all night. So, what are we gonna do then? Well, we're not gonna go to bed. Do we want to play video games? Or watch TV? I mean, knowing me, I'm gonna play video games, so... Oh, I know. You'll never guess what I found while I was cleaning yesterday. Can't believe I forgot it was in my closet. Mishka huffed in amusement as he watched his friend roll off the couch and crawl towards the old box that sat on the floor near the television. You? Cleaning? Doubt. You remember this thing? Everyone had one. Sasha moved out of the way to show Mishka his old video game console. There was a smooth layer of dust coating the system, save for a few finger smudges. Are you serious? Mishka's brow lifted in amazement. It was hard to believe that Sasha still had that dusty old console. Will it even turn on? Sure. Sasha took a deep breath and blew the dust off the old plastic, coughing when he accidentally inhaled some. Guess I just needed a little bit of a blowjob. Oh my god. Me too, honestly. What? Oh my god, that's enough. Me and Sasha had the same reaction. Sasha tried to laugh again, but all you could do was choke. Mishka's lips stretched into a smirk while Sasha suffered on the floor. But he was soon distracted when he spotted something a bit more interesting. Is that what I think it is? Mishka sat up straight and nodded towards a small case near the console. What? Sasha's voice sounded suspiciously clear of dust now that he was done milking it. Oh, yes. Sasha lifted a slightly less dusty case, holding it up to the light as a trophy. Is that Dragon Lad? It's fucking Dragon Lad. Mishka hunched forward to get a closer look. Wow, I can't believe I forgot about that game. How long has it been? Sasha shrugged and flipped the box over, squinting at the back cover. The poor graphic design made the text a bit hard to read. It was back when I lived at my mom's place. That had to be at least 8 years ago. Probably even longer than that. Oh my god, do you remember that Peanut Kid? Peanut Kid? Oh my god, yes. Sasha snickered at the long forgotten memory. He would come over all the time after school with us. What was his name? I don't even remember. Wasn't it like Dan, Steven, something like that? I don't remember either. I just remember all the peanut shells. Oh my god, the peanuts. He was obsessed with peanuts. I remember his mom packed him a little baggie all the time, but they still had the shells on them. Who eats shelled peanuts? Mishka shook his head with a laugh before running a hand through his hair, teeth flashing it in a smile. I mean, I used to suck the salt off the outside and then throw them back in the bag. Gross, right? You're a fucking menace. The crack when you open a shelled peanut is kind of satisfying, though. Sasha tilted his head back with a smile. Oh man, but Mama gets so pissed when she came home, all those peanut shells on the living room floor. I wonder what he's doing these days. I haven't seen or heard of him since then, really. Probably eating peanuts somewhere, but seriously, it was kind of weird. Not weird or weird weird? Your weird is your own brand. This kid was weird. He wasn't very good at Dragon Lad.
Well,
Let's see if we still are. You gonna put it in? Mishka motioned to the game case in Sasha's hand. That's what she said. Sasha pressed his fingers into the case tightly sealed edge until it popped open so hard that the disc flew out. Don't break it before we get to play it. That thing's practically an antique. Sasha chuckled.
Okay.
I'm trying, okay? He plugged the system in and pressed the power button. After a small delay, the power light blinked on.
Nice.
We have a pulse. The gamer miracle. You'll probably need the cord. There's no way the controllers are still charged. Sasha grinned as he stood up and returned to the couch with the old controller in hand. When do I get to play? When you decide to stop breaking in my apartment. That was like an hour ago. You gotta put the past behind you. Before Sasha could even humor the comment, the familiar sounds of the old gaming system filled the room. A second later, music blared loudly from the TV speakers, sending him diving for the remote to lower the volume. Why'd you turn it down? Don't want the district to know you're old?
Huh?
Dragonland isn't that old. The year the system was published popped up on the screen. Okay, it's kind of old. The moment the menu screen music began playing, it was like a slingshot back into their childhood. The feeling of his mom's rug, his processed snack at the ready, and then the sheer excitement to be home from school and free to waste away the evening. Without missing a beat, both of them started to sing along with the catchy theme song. Mishka burst out laughing. Are you seeing these graphics? The graphics weren't bad for their time, but the game looked like a potato compared to the virtual reality games on the market nowadays. I love it. We have to start a new game. There's no other way. At the opening scene played, the two of them quoted along almost perfectly. Man, I remember us restarting the game constantly just to watch that scene again. Looking it up online wasn't the same. We had to watch it in the game. Oh shit, it's starting. The combat tutorial was in full swing, and Sasha had barely managed to dodge an enemy attack. You have to hit both buttons. Mishka leaned over, pointing to the corner of the screen, where helpful tips kept popping up. I know. Sasha fumbled with the controls and managed to pull off the attack, but was soon struggling once again. Come on, I haven't even got the actual level yet. That's because you were rushing and not reading. It's literally telling you what to do. Mishka laughed in amazement at how bad his friend was at this, and they had only just started. Stop backseat gaming. It's harder than it looks. Old games are so hard. Sasha wasn't upset though. It was too funny. Now imagine how much harder it would be if you were high. I mean, that's not an impossible theory to test. Sasha shot Mishka without a knowing side eye. But if you do, use the Red Bull, because the blue one's cracked.
well,
I was just joking, but you were on board so fast. Mishka snorted as he stood up from the small sofa and headed towards the kitchen, where he knew Sasha kept his stash. Wasn't this jar full the last time I was here? How did you smoke that much? Gloved hands uncapped the jar and began loading up the Red Bulls sitting on the counter. I have anxiety, no thanks to you. Green eyes were fixed intently on the screen. Ah, damn it, this jump is hard. Mishka shuffled back to where his friend sat rigidly on the couch, clearly struggling. Here. Sasha glanced at Mishka's offered hand and saw that the glass bowl was loaded. Light it for me. Just pause the game, you can't multitask. Watch me. Mishka sighed, shaking his head slightly before lifting the bowl to Sasha's face and lighting its contents with his free hand. How's the view? Mishka smirked at him as Sasha took a hit, both in and out of the game. It only took all of 10 seconds for the intense scent to fill the small studio apartment. After holding it in for as long as he could, Sasha finally exhaled. The view sucked. You were blocking half of my face. Maybe you should just admit you suck at this game? Mishka laughed before bringing Sasha's bowl to his own lips. He plopped back down on the couch. Almost want to let you try so you can see how hard it is and I can laugh at you instead. No, man. Weed makes me focus. I'll school you. With a deep inhale, Mishka passed the bowl back to his friend. His eyes squinted a little through the smoke that seeped from his mouth. Sasha traded with Mishka, offering him the controller. It seemed much smaller in his hands than Sasha remembered. Without missing a beat, Mishka took the controller and began pressing as many buttons as he could. A few seconds later, a brief "You died" message flashed across the screen. Okay, that doesn't count. You were mid-jump when you handed it to me. I'm not feeling very schooled right now. Sasha took another hit after shooting down Mishka's excuse. Alright. It started back at the checkpoint, so now it's fair. Watch. But as hard as he tried to focus on the screen in front of him, Mishka still struggled to jump over a large cliff. He frowned in irritation. How the fuck do you glide again? Sasha was just shaking silently at this point, face turned away from his friend as he tried to hold it in. Tell me. Despite his tone, Mishka grinned and couldn't contain the laughter that bubbled out of him. Why is it so hard? It's a game for children. Sounds like you need baby hands. Baby hands? What does that even mean? Yeah, these buttons were made for baby thumbs. Sasha could barely finish his sentence without wheezing. Okay, so what if I did this? Mishka set the controller onto his knee and promptly switched to using his index finger on the button pad. The controller shifted on his leg, threatening to fall at any second. If you break it, you have to buy me a new one. A new one? I'd probably have to go on a national treasure hunt to find one. Yeah, I wonder how much they're worth now. Probably nothing. These games were already ported and they bricked this console. Seemingly getting the hang of things, Mishka began progressing quickly through the level, collecting items and blowing fire at enemies. Got any snacks? I'm starving. I don't know. You'll have to go check. While playing Dragon Lad, master level multitasking, Sasha chuckled, feeling lightheaded from the smoke. His earlier stress had almost completely drifted away. You're the master multitasker, not me. Get me a snack. Didn't you say I was horrible at multitasking? Retort aside, Sasha still eased painstakingly off the sofa. Gravity strong. I might not make it to the kitchen. Oh yeah, I heard they turned up the gravity too. Ah, crap. Mishka's focus turned entirely to the screen in front of him. He leaned forward off the edge of the couch and squinted at the enemies he was rushing to defeat. My god, why are there so many of them? Is that the sound of you being really bad at this game? Sasha now was in the kitchen, attempted to open the fridge. He laughed at himself as he kept failing to grab the hand. Fridge said no snacks, sorry. Well, tell the fridge I said yes, snacks, and hurry back, they're gonna kill me. Mishka laughed as even more enemies swarmed in and began overwhelming his small dragon avatar. What do you want me to do about it? Throw snacks at them? Just throw snacks at the screen? Yeah, just throw a handful of peanuts at them. Mishka snickered to himself at the thought. But no, seriously, come help me. Become the dragon lad yourself. He laughed again and quickly double jumped, gliding above the enemies he didn't want to fight yet. Sasha rolled his eyes and shook his head, amused. He finally managed to open the fridge and he began to search in contents with lidded eyes, hoping to find something appetizing. No dice. Well, chips it is then. He shut the door and grabbed the half-empty bag of flavored tortilla chips off the counter. Are you back yet? Did you just ask if I was back yet? I'm like within the 2 meters at all times. This room isn't even that big. Sasha made his way back to the sofa, making sure to plop down hard enough to mess Mishka up. But, hey. Irritated by his friend's attempt at sabotage, Mishka swiped the bag of chips out of Sasha's hand and replaced it with the controller. Your problem now. Fight them, dragon lad. No. The moment Sasha had the controller, his little avatar was surrounded by enemies. I can kill them with the shitty moves, whereas all the upgrade? Mishka chuckled quietly, his body slumped loosely against the armrest. Drowsiness had started to set in, and he could feel it. He could feel his eyelids growing heavy.
Well...
You can always use cheat codes. He stretched out and wiggled his legs underneath Sasha, trying to get it more comfortable on the small couch. Cheating is for cheaters. As he spoke, Sasha pulled out his phone to search for Dragonlad cheat codes. These are all so long. There's no way I'm going to remember one long enough to unlock it. Up, left, down, right, circle, circle, something about a cootie shot. A what shot? Cootie. What the fuck? His tone was gradually getting lower. Or whatever. A small chuckle came from the armrest. Useless. Sasha checked the time on his phone. Is it seriously that late? He locked the device before staring blankly at the retry screen on the TV. Maybe we could just figure it out tomorrow. My brain is too smooth for this right now. I like your smooth brain. Good, because that's all you're getting. Sasha tiredly reached for a chip and gave it a weak nibble. Fair enough. Very slowly, Mishka rolled to the edge of the couch and onto the floor. From there, he began crawling tediously towards Sasha's bed. I really hope that's what you looked like, sneaking down the hallway to pick the lock on my door. Sasha stretched his leg out as far as he could towards the machine, hoping he could hit the power button with his toe. Oh, I can't reach the power button. Come back. Get longer legs. Mishka pulled himself onto the bed and disappeared under the loose covers, shimmying up against the wall. Okay, give me a minute. I'll reach it any second. No. He was straining so hard that words were barely coherent. Slowly, he slid off the couch and onto the hard floor. Aha! Made it. I'm just getting me some gummy lifesavers. Y'all know I love gummy lifesavers. Not caring about their save file, he held the button down with his toe until the screen went black. Okay. Finally, Sasha found the will to stand. He looked at the chips, but decided to leave them on the couch. I'll probably need them again anyway, but no point in going through the hassle of putting them away and pulling them back out again. Sasha yawned, grateful that his bed was only a few steps away from the sofa. After a small detour for the light switch, he stumbled his way into bed by the light that shone through the balcony slider. The sudden weight of another body sinking into the mattress jostled Mishka, and he turned around, shuffling until he was facing Sasha. Come here. His voice was hushed. Sasha scooted closer to his friend beneath the blankets. How can you stand wearing jeans to bed? Are you telling me to take them off? Sasha's laugh was muffled. I'm telling you that you're weird. More weird with pants than without? Got it. After a couple of seconds and a few sounds of rustling beneath the covers, Mishka threw his pants across the small room. Ta-da! Praise me. That was ridiculous, but also very impressive. That's me to a T. Mishka slid an arm under Sasha's middle and pulled him close, feeling warm and content. Mishka's arms was a warm band across the stomach, and Sasha shifted slightly under the weight, getting comfortable. But for real, tight clothing is a hassle, and I'll die on that hill. I just boycotted. No skinny jeans in my apartment. My jeans aren't skinny jeans. Are they still banned? When Sasha closed his eyes, he felt the room start to spin, and while that would normally make him panic right now, it was just relaxing. His body felt almost weightless, held down only by his friend's arm. It felt safe. Noticing the lack of sarcastic commentary, Mishka shifted his head from the pillow and looked over at his friend. When he realized Sasha had fallen asleep, his gaze softened. How's he able to fall asleep so fast baffles me. Leaning in, Mishka rested his head above Sasha's on the pillow. He curled his body closer, entangling the two of them in a comfortably familiar pose. Only a few minutes later, sleep claimed Mishka too. Okay. The soft crackle of wood burning into the ash and ember filled the otherwise silent space of the dark lounge. A slender man approached his superior, who was seated in a sleek armchair with an almost bored expression as he looked down at his phone. Sir? Upon hearing the voice, the man lifted his dark-eyed gaze from his phone and stared at the agent standing before him. The dealer we sent out to retrieve the package never made it back. A thin smile spread across the man's lips. Of course, I knew Strex's little rat would get in the way. Because of the tightened security around the shop, only verified dealers have been able to get through. Fine. We'll use our mole then. Have him get the sample and send it to the warehouse. Do it before Pavel catches wind.
I understand.
I'll be sure to stress the urgency to the others then. No, I have something more important for you to do, Ada. As the man spoke, he lifted a thin tablet from the side table nearby. The screen illuminated his face and filled once dark eyes with a pale blue light. Ada's gaze, previously fixated near the other man's feet, lifted to regard his superior. A jolt of heat ran through him when his eyes met for a split second. I want you to keep an eye on Dima's pet. You can't risk losing time if he wanders too close. And if he does? Ada's voice was quieter now. It took a few daring steps closer. Now within arm's reach of his superior, The man gently took Ada's hand in his and met no resistance. Ada's fingers were relaxed and compliant. Without warning, the man forcefully pulled Ada into his lap.
Then we chain him down.
His words were so close. His warm breath brushed softly against Ada's neck. Anything for you. What in the all hell's bells is going on? Meanwhile, I'm just snacking. The long, eerie hallway, the house Sasha's front door did well to hide just what time of day it was, though it looked the same as the previous night. It was now late afternoon when the two finally emerged from the small studio apartment. They managed to sleep most of the day, away no thanks to the lack of natural daylight in the apartment. Sasha shut and locked his front door behind him, glaring at Mishka as he jiggled the handle to double-check its security. Mishka couldn't help but laugh. Listen, at least I didn't break the lock. It's fine. Don't give me that look. Sasha rolled his eyes before pocketing his keys. After taking a few steps towards the stairs, Sasha's stomach rumbled loudly. Dude, I'm starving. Mishka quickly followed after his friend.
Well,
That's what we get for waking up this late. Maybe there's a hot dog place along the way? Funny how you just invite yourself to my drop. Hey, it's my day off. I've got nothing better to do. You ever? Mishka gasped dramatically and pretended to clutch his pearls as they went down to the stairwell and out into the street.
come on.
I still think we should stop for hot dogs. No complaints here. The sounds of buses stopping loudly by the curb, distant car horns, and the wind tearing between tall buildings, they all washed over him. Sure, it was loud, but every sound reminded Sasha that he was never truly alone out here. It was all so familiar. So, where's this drop anyway? Sasha pulled his phone from his jacket pocket, quickly scrolling through his messages. He wants to meet over at the jukebox, which is at least an hour with public transit. Sasha typed a quick on my way to Taryn before pocketing his phone. The jukebox? That's at Strexa Tower, yeah? A hint of unease had crept into Mishka's tone. Yeah, I'm almost never over that way. It feels too expensive. I walked around there once, to look at shops, and I found some really nice shoes. I thought I'd have to take out a mortgage on those things, but I put them down so fast. Feels like they'll charge you for just breathing their air, huh? Guess I'll hold my breath. Don't die. Right, so the tower. I hope you don't plan on walking us. Hope you don't plan on us walking. Yeah, that's a bit much for me. Moving from the couch to your kitchen is a bit much for you. Okay, smartass, walking is out of the question. Let's take the train to Trexa Tower. Let's take the bus. Take the train. Let's take the train. Faster and cleaner than the bus line. I don't like the subway, you know that. God, it's fast and the bus is smelly. You can deal with it, right? Sasha grinned at his friend in an attempt to persuade him, hands shoved into his pockets as they started down the side street. Come on, I'll make it up to you. I'll buy you some tacos. Wow. You'll get us some tacos, huh? And pay for them and everything? An incredulous, I don't know how to say the word, I'm sorry, look was shared between them for a moment before they both started laughing. Hey, I won't stop you if you really want to spoil me. Sasha chuckled, shaking his head. Spoil you? I just want to take you to the subway, my dude. Is it working? Are you convinced? Sasha gave the most pathetic attempt at a puppy dog look he could manage. Mishka smiled wearily in response and put a hand on his friend's shoulder, playfully shoving him away. Okay. If you stop doing that, whatever that is, then I'll go down. Cool. Then Stoke Street entrance is right there, so it all works out. Yeah. The two of them descended on the ground, their footsteps echoing down the concrete stairway. The hum of the city was soon replaced with the roar of the subway trains rushing by. A man leaned quietly against the nearest wall, loitering next to the bright "No Littering" sign. When he noticed Sasha and Mishka approaching, he pushed off the wall and headed over to them both. Oh, Sasha. The closer the stranger got, the more tense Mishka began to feel. His hand moved towards his pocket, fingers twitching instinctively.
Hey.
Do you know this guy, Sasha? Yeah, he's a regular of mine. Sasha's expression shifted into something a bit more welcoming as he greeted the familiar client, but Mishka's tension didn't subside. He kept a watchful eye out, the back of his neck prickling with unease. Hey, you're usually up by Flora. What are you doing out this way? Sasha's body stiffened as the man stepped closer. The man started to scratch the back of his head. I actually, came out this way for something, but can't get back now. Can't get back. Sasha noted the glassiness of the buyer's eyes, though it was difficult to see since he wouldn't stop moving. Here we go. It's my C card. He stopped to look behind him despite no one being there. It's expired and I don't have enough to renew it right now. Yikes. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. The man simply laughed and shook his head. Oh no, it's fine, but because of all that, I'm, a little short on cash. So I was wondering if, The man continued to stumble over his words, but it wasn't hard to see where this was going. I hate when people ask for some money like this. You know I can't front you. It's just for half a gram. I'll have the money next week. I'll pay it back. Sasha did his best to cut him off. I can't do IOUs, man. I got bosses to feed.
Come on.
Sasha, let's go. Just this one time, man. Just this one time. It's taking all my income just to get this card, and I only need half a gram of that new stuff you got last week. The man became more agitated and ran a shaky hand through his hair. I'm sorry, but I can't. Sasha shrugged as he repeated his refusal. Sasha, please, man. This withdrawal is ferocious, you gotta understand. The man attempted a smile, but it flickered and died, a frown swiftly taking its place. He was clearly growing more agitated by the moment. He glanced over his shoulder a second time. Are you fucking serious? He said no, back off. Mishka, ease up. His brows furrowed at his friend's sudden intensity. Alright, damn, I don't want any trouble. The man backed up a bit, shaking his head in disappointment before mumbling something incoherent. Before another word was said, an automatic voice over the loudspeaker chimed in. Their train was arriving. Not wanting to escalate the situation further, Sasha bowed out and headed in the opposite direction. Mishka reached into his pocket and pulled out a business card. He held out a piece of paper to the regular with a scowl, letting go once the other man grabbed it. Here, call this number. They'll help you get your card. Stop bothering people. Thanks. What a charmer. Mishka didn't hear this comment, having already turned to follow Sasha toward the turnstile. I don't know what that word is. That separated them from the rest of the subway. Sasha pulled a C card from his pocket as they approached the turnstile. A green light appeared with a quick chime and a signal. Sasha's seamless entry. When Mishka offered up his card, however, the machine locked rigid. A small error code popped up on the screen. Mishka tried again. Error. Someone out of funds? No, I literally just loaded this thing. No wonder the other guy got bared. Mishka scanned his C card again with no success. He scoffed at the persistent error notice. Whatever, this thing is biased. Not wanting to waste time buying a one-way ticket from the kiosk, Mishka simply vaulted over the barrier. Absolute anarchy. It's faster than the bus line, my ass. It is when your card works. My card does work. It's just a stupid fucking... Ugh. Never mind. What platform? Mishka's scowl remained as they started down another flight of stairs toward the many platforms. A large digital map overhead displayed endless options of color-coded routes.
So...
We're headed north, so orange line? His response was quick and confident as he steered Mishka toward their platform. Their train was already docked when they approached, but Sasha showed no urgency as he walked towards the open sliding doors. Mishka, on the other hand, kept glancing over his shoulder as they went along, and even more so once they boarded. He guided them both as far from the other occupants as he could, motioning to spot in the corner for Sasha to sit. I hate this fucking train. One leg across the other while he leaned back, his arms wrapped around his middle. Hey, at least it's not too packed this late in the afternoon. I didn't feel like standing during a ride this long. Because no one likes the subway. Or they're suckers who don't get off work for another 2 hours. Mishka grew quiet and turned his attention towards the window, staring through the glass with his jaw clenched. Sasha pulled his phone out of his pockets and shifted around to get comfortable. Since no one was near, he was able to swing his legs up onto an empty seat. Ah, damn it, we forgot the tacos. The difference between this district and the one that they just left felt like night and day. The trees planted evenly along the road were well manicured. No trash could be found on the crackless sidewalks, and modern features adorned walkways and expensive-looking skyscraper lobbies. Is it just me, or is this air different here? Careful, they'll charge us for talking too much. Grinning slightly, Mishka shoved his hands deeper into his pockets and trailed after his friend. I'm always amazed to see how many people find time to shop in the middle of a workday. Not that I work a normal schedule. structure tower was tall enough to spot almost anything in the city, so it felt a little intimidating standing under it now. The first floor was filled with various types of open air shops that anyone could pass through, and there were a hell of a lot of them.
Hey,
Sasha, look at this. Without much of a warning, Mishka veered off and crouched down beside a small metal box outside the expensive-looking boutique. I think it's an umbrella wrapping thing. He leaned over the box and looked down into the narrowing hole at the top. I dare you to put your hand in there. And what? Steal an umbrella bag? Still, he curiously walked over and looked down into it. Wish I had an umbrella on me so I could bag it. Maybe it's part of their marketing ploy. Get you to buy an umbrella just to try this thing. Rich people would absolutely buy an umbrella when it's 28 Celsius and clear skies outside. Sasha checked his phone and reread the text he had received the previous night. Why'd this guy want to meet here anyway? Is this really on your route? Sasha just shrugged. Honestly, the further from my apartment, the better. His gaze darted between the hanging signs and the nearby shops in hopes of finding the jukebox. Actually, that makes sense. So who are we looking for? A skeezy guy, probably late 20s. Old, outdated pair of sneakers. Karen. Never met him before, so probably a new buyer. Never met him and you weren't going to ask me to come? Wow, I see. They wanted to meet at the jukebox. My bank account's at higher risk than my safety. Not far away from them, a man who fit Mishka's earlier description gazed upon his phone, peered around, then looked back down. A few moments later, the man lifted his head and looked around again. Yeah, so is that him? Mishka motioned with his head, his hands sliding instantly into his pockets where his knives were. Probably. The two of them approached the stranger. Hey, are you Taryn? The man turned and squinted at Sasha. With a hearty laugh, he flipped his phone around and shoved it in his pocket. Hey man, thought you'd be taller. His teeth flashed in a smile. Anyway, what's up? Other than bringing me my order. Or wait, are you Sasha or you? He pointed towards Mishka. Yep, that's him. Probably never buys his own shit. I hate this. Shifting into customer service mode, Sasha's tone changed into something more confident. I'm travel-sized, or would you rather I be on everybody's radar? Oh shit. Hey man, that just means you can squeeze into small spaces, right? With a chortle, he dug into his pockets and started pulling out wads of cash, flipping through them only after he licked his thumb first. Gross. Karen paused to look up at Mishka for the moment, then went back to counting. Something like, what, 200 for a gram? Didn't you say you wanted to meet at the jukebox? It's close enough. Sasha interjected, watching the stack of money the man pulled out in broad daylight.
so
Do you not have to pay? Do you not have Paya or a coin linked to your C-card? Also take crypto. The thought of carrying cash around made him nervous. Huh, no cutie. I don't like to be traced. So how much is that? The new NS shit is expensive, isn't it? 1400, 200 if you're paying USD. It's my last batch for a reason. That's apps. That's about what Alexia mentioned. I'm game. Does that come with dinner with you too? The fuck? Though he had meant to mutter the words under his breath, Mishka's voice rose sharply. That'll cost you at least 3 times as much. Sasha wouldn't consider this guy as tight, but he didn't mind his ego being stroked. Oh, so you're fancy, huh? Well, lucky for you, I'm loaded, all kinds of loaded. I don't think you could afford my appetite. Sasha, what the fuck? Aaron grinned at Sasha, still flipping through the bundle of cash. Alright, so what, 200 USD for the bag and then 800 for you? I ain't talking about dinner, you know. His tongue stuck out playfully between his teeth, jaw creaking with how hard he was clenching his teeth. Mishka balled his hands into a fist, his nails bit sharply into his palms, and every muscle in his body was rigid. Sasha pulled out a small cellophane bag with a violet emblem inside his jacket.
seriously?
You dote on all your dealers this way? The drug was held lightly between his fingers so he could put off the product and take payment at the same time. Just the cute ones. He smirked and slid the wad of cash into Sasha's hand, taking the baggie as well with his free hand. Taryn grabbed Sasha's forearm and pulled him closer. And you're pretty cute. Get the fuck back. Mishka stepped forward, pushing his arm between the other two and roughly shoving Taryn away from Sasha. Hey, what the fuck, man? Taryn growled, stumbling back a little, temper ignited like a spark. He put both hands on Mishka's chest and shoved him back. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Ugh.
Hey, y'all need to chill the fuck out. Sasha glanced around anxiously, knowing that they were making a scene. Oh, you'll fucking know who the fuck I am in a second, shithead. The scowl Mishka wore intensified and Sasha's voice fueled with adrenaline coursing through him.
Are you kidding me?
Mishka, we're not doing this right now. The uproar had already gained the attention of a few onlookers, all of them slowing down to better see the fight. What's going on over there? An officer on patrol started to make his way toward them, craning his neck in an attempt to gauge the situation.
Oh, fuck.
Sasha felt his stomach flip as the cop approached. This had never happened, where he was usually really good at keeping a low profile. God damn it, Sasha, we should bail. Alright, I'm gonna have to ask you to calm down. Hey, what do you have in your hand? Shit, fuck this man. I'm out. Seeing the officer was still some distance away, Taryn quickly pocketed the drug that had been spotted and took off. He disappeared into the labyrinth of shops and side streets around the tower. Sasha felt his throat tighten and his heartbeat thundered in his ear. We can't afford this. We have to run. We don't have money for a bribe. Go. We have to run.
Sasha!
Now. Mishka urgently grabbed at his friend's jacket and shoved him forward. Shaking from his daze, Sasha bolted. He didn't trust himself to look back when he heard the cop give a chase. I can't outrun this guy. Sasha huffed as he sharply turned the corner and tried to keep up with Mishka. Doesn't matter, just keep running. Mishka checked over his shoulders and suddenly grabbed Sasha's wrist, tugging him to the left. Where are we going? He didn't get a good look at us, right? We don't stand out? His footsteps were getting uneven, his legs growing heavy. Are you seriously out of breath already? Mishka couldn't stop himself from smiling and shook his head as they ran. Easy for you to say, you're like a giraffe. Mishka quickly assessed their options. The footsteps of the cop in pursuit grew louder. Up ahead was an alleyway that looked promising, but it was pretty dark down there, despite the sunlight setting in the sky. The North Market was well lit and populated, but cluttered with obstacles that could cause problems for Sasha. Run through the alley. Alley was their best bet. Still pulling Sasha along, Mishka ran straight ahead towards the opening. Shit, come on this way. Their heavy footsteps felt closer as the sound bounced off the concrete and brick. For the briefest moment, Sasha felt a sense of relief. The police officer hasn't followed them. Not to jinx this, but I think we might get lucky. He just completely winded and had to start slowing down a bit, adrenaline alone keeping him moving. Can't slow down now, come on. I hate this. Why did you have to make a scene? When the two of them ran around the corner, Mishka came to a hard stop. Everything slowed in that moment. Shit! Desperately, he tightened his grip on Sasha's wrist and yanked him back at his friend Kareen, I don't know, past him, unable to stop this momentum. The sudden jerk sent a spike of pain radiating through Sasha's arm. Ow! Hey, what are you doing? Mishka wasn't listening. He was staring at the two figures standing in the alleyway, clearly in deep conversation. One was brightly dressed with a wicked grin glinting from beneath the shadow of their hat. The other figure was a stark contrast, dressed in all black. A tense silence filled the alleyway when the pair noticed Sasha and Mishka. Abruptly, Mishka turned around and ran back the way they just came from, dragging Sasha behind him. Everything felt like a blur as the mysterious figures disappeared behind them. Despite the sounds of the sirens growing louder, Mishka did not stop running. Now, at the intersection of two large alleys, he whipped his head around to look for an exit. Stop, put your hands up. Mishka spun around quickly, eyeing the fire escapes above for them a moment as if entertaining the thought. More officers came down remaining alleyways, opening, approaching with weapons drawn. Fuck, goddammit. When they slowed down, Sasha suddenly felt like he'd been hit by a train. His face was flushed and hot, and his throat rasped painfully as he gasped for air. It had all been for nothing. He wasn't sure what was making his heart race more than the fact that he sprinted way beyond his capacity, or knowing full well what they were about to get booked for this. Fuck. Defeated, Mishka shook his head and lifted his arms up. Sasha weakly lifted his hands as best as he could. Well, shit happens. The sound of the metal doors closing echoed loudly in the holding cell Sasha and Mishka found themselves in. Although it was clean, it had a little bared window near the ceiling. It was a bit cramped. Luckily, sharing with strangers wasn't something they had to worry about. Alone in the cell, Sasha and Mishka sat quietly on a metal bench near the back. A baton suddenly struck the bars in front of them, jarring both of them from their thoughts. Alright, give me your C-cards. Come on, bring them over. I don't have all day. When neither one of them moved, the stand that the officer hit the bars again, this time even louder than the last. Got a listening problem? I said bring me your C cards. With a disgruntled noise and slight eye roll, Mishka eased himself off the metal bench and dug into his pocket, searching for the card. Sasha wasn't far behind him, also looking in his pockets. Before Sasha could stand, Mishka held out his hand for his friend's C card. Once he had the cards, he approached the officer behind the bars.
Hey.
Here. He squeezed his hand between the bars and held the cards out to the officer. Took you long enough? The officer swiped both cards from Mishka's hand and turned to walk down the tiled hall. Hey, we'll get those back, right? Yep, after we process and run your prints. Get comfy, you'll be in here for a while. Mishka gripped the bars of the cell door and sighed at the officer's footsteps faded down the hall. My feet are killing me. Sasha lifted one leg over the other to better reach his sneakers. After messing with the laces, he removed his shoe and rubbed his feet with a frown. That was the worst. He couldn't remember the last time he had run that much all at once. Probably not since grade school. Mishka turned away from the bars and leaned against the back of them, watching Sasha. I commend you. That was a hard sprint. A hard sprint that could have been avoided. With an annoyed sigh, Mishka pushed off the bars and walked across the cell, carelessly flopping down beside his friend. Wouldn't hurt, too. I don't know. Try a treadmill once in a while. Being able to run from shit in the city isn't a cess. Sasha lifted his gaze from his swollen foot, less than amused.
Seriously?
I can't do all the things you want me to, and I won't. Glad you can outrun the cops, but that wasn't on my agenda. I never said I wanted... Okay, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have pushed you to do something you can't do. Mishka rubbed the back of his neck sheepishly, and his gaze straying away from Sasha to anything and everything else in the cell. Sasha looked away. Sasha? So... Whoops. Oh, resume. So what was that back in the alley? Oh, you mean when I pulled your arm? Sorry. Yeah, but why? You were freaked out all of a sudden. What was that about? I wasn't freaked out. Why would you think that? Why would you think I was? You almost pulled my arm out of its socket. I'd call that freaked out. Was it the two people we saw? There's nothing freaky about those two people in the alley, Sasha. Nothing. Exactly. So why did you freak out? I didn't fucking freak out. Abruptly, a baton struck the cell bars, again jarring the two of them from their argument. Mishka jumped and turned sharply to face the officer. Stop freaking out in there. Oh my god. Alright, we ran your cards. We each get a phone call, and you, Pinky, you got a lot of explaining to do. Do you know how many knives we pulled off you? Sasha watched as Mishka started for the door and followed the cop out of the holding cell. He rubbed at his foot again, turning his head down towards his shoe with a sigh. Together, Mishka rounded the corner behind the officer. Alright, you've got 10 minutes and one call. Make it a good one. Don't talk much, do you? Whatever. Phone's over there. Wipe it down when you're done. Mishka approached the row of ancient-looking phone lines and proceeded to pick up the receiver. When he did, a small screen projected above the number pad. With the practiced ease, he dialed the number and waited quietly. He watched as the screen flickered before faintly displaying a pixelated
State your
face.
name and coordinates.
It's me. I'm in jail. I need you to get us out. One moment. Mishka glanced up from the phone, sweeping his gaze over the people in the lobby. Alright, I'm here. Why are you in jail? That doesn't matter. Can you just get us out? Us? Who's us? Is someone else there with you? Yeah, a friend. We were caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. Is your C card not working? They should have let you out when they scanned the encryption. Do you really want to play 20 questions with me right now? I've got a limited time on this thing. And Sasha doesn't have the same C card as me, and I'm not leaving him here. Just call them and bail us out. Sasha.
Come on.
Dima, seriously, time limit. Okay, I'll call the station, but Mishka, this can't be a situation more than once. Sure, whatever. I saw Ada in the hallway, in the hallway. Girl, go to bed. I need to go to bed. In the alley when we were running from the cops, he was with Neo. I see. Yeah, anyways, thanks. Mishka. What? Be careful, please. If Ada's out, there's a reason. Stay close to our perimeter. I'll bait them if you need to, and please stop running from cops. Keep your head down. Yep, bye. Mishka abruptly set the receiver back onto the hook, his eyes closing with aggravation. The cop behind him eyed him like a hawk, occasionally glancing over Mishka's shoulders at the now black screen on the landline. You done? Come on. Mishka complied and turned to follow the officer back down the hall and toward the holding cell. Not a minute has passed before the sound of the static blared from the officer's walkie-talkie. Hey, Kimrick, this is Smith, over? Hey, Smith, go ahead, over. Those two in the holding cell, D4, they're free to go, over. What? Alright, affirmative, over and out. After a quick tone from the receiver, the signal ended with an exasperated sigh. The cop turned to Mishka with a look of disdain. Friends in high places won't always be able to bail you out, punk. I'll need my phone and all 8 of my knives back. There's stuff on the counter there. I'll go get your friend. Mishka went to the collective's confiscated things and silently pocketed them one by one. He slid his phone into the back of his pocket and waited for Sasha.
Huh?
You're letting us go just like that? Yep. How?
Come on.
Don't worry about it. Grab your phone. We'll call a rideshare to take us back. I want to get out of here. Sasha watched his hands as his finger fumbled with the cuffs of his jacket. Actually, I called Ari to come pick me up. I guess they won't be waiting long now. Mishka paused for a second and brought his fingers up to scratch at his jaw. His shoulders heaved with a heavy sigh. Okay. Is everything alright?
Seriously?
I was stuck in a holding cell for 2 hours with aching feet. Why wouldn't it be? Okay, well, see you later, I guess. I kinda want to be left alone right now. Sasha? Sasha's thought was cut short by his friend's familiar voice. Without another word, Mishka turned and left. As Mishka left, Arisha looked toward Sasha, their shoulders drooping with a deep sigh. You good to go, Sasha? Let's get out of here. Yeah, let's go. The sound of the 2 doors closing echoed in the dimly lit parking garage, soon followed by the roar of the car's engine coming to life. Arisha clicked their seatbelt into place and glanced over at their friend's fingers tightening on the steering wheel. I already know what you're gonna say.
Good. Then you know how tired I am of bailing you out of these spats between you two.
You know I'm missing my self-defense class to come pick you up. What even happened? It was just a normal drop and Mishka didn't like the guy. Some cops saw and that was it. That was it? As if Mishka's jealous tendencies haven't gotten you into shit like this before. Arisha shook their head slowly. Their manicured fingers loosened their grip on the wheel as the car turned out the parking space. Am I wrong? No. Look, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just worried you're wasting your energy on a dead end. I know. Does that water have to be over your head for you to realize you're in too deep? You cannot get thrown in jail again. You're a dealer. How'd you even get out? No one can afford bail in this city. I don't know. Mishka went to make his phone call, and after that, the cop came back and let us out. That's shady as fuck, Sasha. What's worse is he wouldn't tell me how, and I did ask. He seems real choosy on what I should and should not know. That's Mishka, though. He's secretive, but not with me. Apparently he is from what you're telling me. Maybe they're right. Sasha looked out the window and watching the shops and street lights fly by. The roads were almost empty at this time of night. Why do you put up with this? Why not just tell him this isn't working? Because clearly it's not. There's no this. We're not in a relationship. Oh, no? Could have fooled me, like everyone else, man.
Seriously?
We're not dating. So then what are y'all? Because whatever it is, it doesn't look good from where I'm standing. Are you friends with benefits?
Ugh.
No, I don't know. Can we please...
Sasha.
There's all kinds of relationships out there, and babe, whether you like it or not, you're in one. Friends fight all the time. You got so pissed at me once when we were building your bed frame, you didn't talk to me for a week. And that was a bed frame, Sasha. This is jail. I just picked you up from jail. Fine, now add don't get arrested to my list of goals right next to not eating before bedtime. Yeah, well, at least think about what I said. I really don't like seeing you like this. Tires eased to the stop next to the curb beside Sasha's apartment complex. With the engine still running, Arisha put the vehicle in park. Almost immediately after the car stopped, Sasha pulled the door handle and stepped out. Thanks for picking me up. Yeah. Oh, and if I miss another class with my hot instructor because of you, it'll be another week of not talking. Call me later. Sasha couldn't help but couldn't help a small smile from forming as he rolled his eyes and shut the car door. He watched the little hatchback pull away from the curb and rumble down the street. So then, what are y'all? Sasha sighed before heading into his apartment building. We're complicated, it seems. We're very complicated. Fuck. Okay, so we're gonna cut it right here because it's been over an hour. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.